This is another podcast from Alpha Business Media. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Imagine, if you will, a quiet revolution unfolding high in the Himalayas. A nation primarily known for its breathtaking landscapes, its ancient culture.
Mount Everest, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But now it's rapidly emerging as, well, a significant player in the global tech world. We're talking about Nepal and its booming IT sector.
Mm.
But behind these really impressive numbers, there's a hidden challenge lurking, a fundamental problem that could actually derail this whole ascent,
Mm.
a significant skills gap.
It's such a fascinating paradox, isn't it? You've got this explosive growth in Nepal's IT industry on one hand,
hmm
and yet at the same time it's grappling with this severe shortage of skilled talent. What's really compelling, I think, is how they're confronting this head on. They're effectively creating a unique, almost parallel ecosystem to produce the developers, the tech professionals they desperately need.
So our mission today is to take a deep dive into this unique situation. We'll unpack the numbers, the ones painting this striking picture.
Right.
We'll explore that surprising disconnect between traditional academia and the rapid demands of the industry. And then, crucially, we'll reveal the innovative solutions companies are building, literally from the ground up.
Yeah, these company-led initiatives are key.
Absolutely. And you'll discover not just the story of economic transformation in Nepal, but maybe even a powerful blueprint for how any nation can cultivate its most valuable resource for the 21st century. Its skilled workforce.
No way.
Okay, so let's start with that growth. Let's paint the picture. In 2022, Nepal's IT services exports soared to an impressive $515 million.
Wow.
Yeah, showing a staggering 64.2% growth from the year before.
64%, that's huge.
It is, and this isn't just a flash in the pan. It's now their main export product. It contributes 1.4% to their GDP, accounts for 5.5% of foreign exchange reserves.
Significant figures.
Very significant, and forecasts are even more optimistic. They're predicting the ICT sector, information and communication technology, will contribute close to 2% to GDP by 2024-25. So this isn't just an emerging market anymore.
No, it sounds like they're really becoming a prominent competitive player.
Right. Over 100 IT services export companies, a huge community of freelancers too, serving global giants in the US, Europe, Japan.
It's quite the boom. But what's truly fascinating, and maybe a bit sobering, is how that optimism gets tempered by, well, a stark reality check.
Okay.
Despite this booming IT sector, the human capital statistics reveal this profound mismatch. Almost like a digital canyon, you could say.
A canyon. How so?
Well, according to a World Bank report, a shocking 91% of Nepalese adults are unable to perform basic digital tasks, like copying and pasting text.
91%? Wow.
Just copy-paste.
Yeah. Think about that. Imagine trying to navigate today's world without that fundamental skill. It's a stark indicator of the foundational digital literacy challenge.
Hmm.
And this isn't just anecdotal. Nepal ranks a dismal 124th out of 134 countries in Wiley's Global Digital Skills Gap Index.
124th, that's very low. And the specialized talent pool, it's equally shallow. Only 0.16% of the population has an ICT education, and just 2% have a STEM science, technology, engineering, math education.
Just 2% overall with STEM.
Right. So
Yeah.
this creates what the sources we looked at call not just a skills gap, but genuinely a chasm.
Okay, a chasm.
Mm-hmm.
So what does this glaring disparity actually mean for the industry's long-term health? You've got this incredible growth.
Yeah, but it's built on shaky foundations.
Exactly. This growth, while impressive on paper, is currently being driven by a very, very small, highly skilled elite.
Right. Which makes it inherently unsustainable, doesn't it?
It has to be. We're already seeing unhealthy wage inflation. Companies are fiercely competing for this limited talent pool. We're talking 100, even 200% increases when people switch jobs.
Wow, 100 to 200% jumps. That's volatile.
Extremely volatile. And that kind of volatility really undermines the industry's long-term sustainability, its competitiveness. Without a broad, consistent pipeline of new talent, the sector is inevitably going to hit a ceiling.
Makes sense.
And beyond just the business side, it threatens to create a deep socioeconomic divide within Nepal itself, where a highly paid tech elite thrives while the vast majority is kind of left out of this really promising sector.
Yeah, that's a serious risk.
So bridging this skills gap, it isn't just a business challenge. It feels more fundamental, like a matter of national economic security and, well, sustainable development for Nepal.
Absolutely. And to really get to the heart of this, We need to peel back the layers, right? Analyze that specific disconnect between what the traditional education system offers
Right.
and what the industry actually needs, demands even. And this becomes glaringly obvious when you compare, say, university curricula with actual job ads from IT companies.
Okay, let's do that. What is the industry looking for? It sounds pretty specific.
It is. Nepalese IT companies, they're actively seeking these highly specialized, very modern roles, the cloud solutions architects.
Designing cloud systems.
Exactly. AI and machine learning specialists working with cutting-edge AI. Cybersecurity experts, obviously crucial.
Yeah.
Full-stack developers who can handle both front-end and back-end. And DevOps engineers, streamlining development and operations.
Okay, quite a list. And the tech skills.
Very precise. They need proficiency in popular languages like Python, JavaScript, Java, PHP. They want hands-on experience with the major cloud platforms, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud.
The big three.
The big three. Plus tools for containerization, infrastructure as code, like Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform.
Right, the modern toolkit.
Totally. For AML, it's frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, expertise in NLP, computer vision, web development. Modern frameworks are key. React, Node.js, Angular, plus databases like MySQL, MongoDB.
And cybersecurity.
Skills and penetration testing, network security protocols, specific tools like Wireshark, Nmap. And those crucial industry certifications are often required: CEH, CISSP.
That is a demanding list. Very current.
Extremely current. But, it's not just the hard skills, is it? That raises a really important question. What about the soft skills? The less tangible stuff?
Good point. Communication, teamwork.
Exactly. Companies have really strict requirements there too. Communication, teamwork, problem solving, adaptability, critical thinking. These aren't like nice to haves.
No, they're essential.
They're absolutely key, especially in global outsourcing. Imagine trying to deliver a complex project to a client halfway across the world, working with a distributed team without strong communication or problem solving.
It just wouldn't work.
Almost impossible. These skills are truly non-negotiable for success in that environment.
Okay. So that's the industry demand side. High-tech, specific, plus strong soft skills. How does the education system stack up against that? You mentioned leading universities like Triphuvan University, TU, and Kathmandu University, KU.
Right. And they undeniably provide a strong theoretical foundation. TU's BSc CSIT program, for example, covers fundamentals. C programming, data structures, algorithms, AI principles, networks. They have project work and internship.
Sounds pretty standard, pretty solid.
It is solid. But here's the crucial gap we found in the sources. Their web technologies course, for instance, apparently doesn't even mention modern frameworks like React or Vue.js.
Really? Those are industry standards now.
Exactly. And specialized electives like cloud computing, often only offered in the senior year and maybe not even required.
What about KU, Kathmandu University?
KU seems to put a bit more emphasis on practical application. They have multiple computer project courses, a pretty significant 6-credit internship, and impressively, they boast 100% graduate employment.
That's impressive.
It is. And they've even proactively launched specialized AI programs, which shows they're trying to adapt.
Okay, so some variation, but generally a gap, especially on the very latest tech.
Yeah, and the key issue here, it isn't necessarily the quality of the education in terms of theory. Both universities offer programs comparable to international standards in their rigor.
Okay.
The core problem, as our sources highlight, really comes down to this speed mismatch.
Speed mismatch.
Yeah. Universities excel at providing that durable, fundamental knowledge algorithms, data structures, computation theory, stuff that's vital for long-term understanding, for adapting.
The foundations.
The foundations.
Yeah.
But industry needs immediately applicable skills in tools and frameworks that might honestly be obsolete in 3 years.
Right, tech moves so fast.
Exactly. So forcing universities to teach every single new framework as it emerges. It's kind of a futile goal. It's like expecting, I don't know, a culinary school to update its entire curriculum every time a new trendy ingredient pops up.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Universities teach the physics of flight, let's say. But industry demands the how to fly the latest Boeing 7 whatever model right now. The true role of the university, ideally, should be focusing on educating the ability to learn, equipping students with those foundational skills so they can adapt rapidly.
Right, teaching them how to learn new things quickly. That makes sense. So if the traditional system isn't quite keeping pace with that immediate industry need, what's happening? What creative solutions are companies putting in place? This is where it gets really interesting, you said.
Yes, this is where the innovation is really happening, I think. Nepal's leading IT companies, they aren't just sitting back and waiting for academia to catch up.
They can't afford to.
They really can't. So they're actively building this parallel, highly flexible, and incredibly effective education ecosystem. They're cultivating the talent they desperately need themselves. And these aren't just, casual internships. These are intensive, carefully designed talent development programs.
Okay, give us some examples.
All right, let's look at Leapfrog Technology. They run two key programs, the Student Partnership Program, LSPP, and a fellowship program.
Okay.
The LSPP aims to bridge that very gap we talked about between industry and academia. It develops both technical skills and those essential soft skills.
Ah, the soft skills too. Good.
Crucial. Then their fellowship is a paid full-time internship. Participants work on real-world projects, guided by experienced mentors, and this often leads directly into junior software engineer positions right after the program.
So a direct pipeline.
A very direct pipeline. And what's even more impressive, showing a real long-term vision, Leapfrog is even partnering with a K-12 school, a tie-in school, to integrate technology and design thinking into the curriculum early.
Wow, starting that young.
Yeah, planting the seeds for future talent right at the foundational level. It's quite strategic.
Okay, that's Leapfrog. What about other areas like AI? That's huge now.
Absolutely. And that brings us to Fuse Machines. They're deeply focused on artificial intelligence. Their AI fellowship program is this intensive 23-week accelerated course.
23 years? That's fast.
Very fast. It was meticulously developed with U.S. university faculty, actually. It offers a full scholarship and their own proprietary micro degree in AI.
A micro degree. Interesting.
Yeah, covering cutting-edge stuff, generative AI, machine learning, deep learning, NLP, MLOps, the whole spectrum. But the selection process is tough. You need strong Python, math, computer science background.
High bar.
Definitely. But it's part of their global mission to democratize AI, tackling that global shortage. And naturally, they prioritize hiring their own graduates.
Makes sense. Builds your own workforce.
Okay, any other models?
Well, consider Cloud Factory. They have a really unique and impactful model. They employ about 1,300 people in Nepal, mostly doing labor-intensive data processing tasks like annotating data for AI models.
Okay, data labeling, that kind of work.
Exactly. Now, their training is highly client-specific, very technical for those tasks. But it's embedded in this much broader culture of holistic leadership development.
Leadership development, how so?
Their stated mission is to prepare employees as leaders to address poverty in their own communities. They have programs like TOLI, which are regular team meetings focusing on collaboration, and Sprout sessions focusing on character, leadership skills, time management, project management. So it's beyond just the technical task training.
Way beyond. It's a commitment to human capital development that's quite profound, really.
That's fascinating. One more.
Okay, one more. Deerwalk. This represents maybe the deepest integration we saw. Deerwalk Inc., an American software company, actually co-founded the Deerwalk Institute of Technology, DWIT.
They co-founded a university institute.
Basically, yeah. And it's affiliated with Tribhuvan University. This unique structure means the curriculum is aligned with industry needs from day one. Students get, quote, 4 years of extensive practical experience.
Wow.
And direct internship opportunities with Deerwalk Services, the company, right there on the same campus.
That's tight integration.
Super tight. And they even offer extra non-credit courses in things like Java and English to boost professional skills, directly filling those gaps we talked about in standard programs.
Okay, these examples are powerful. It's not just like corporate social responsibility, is it?
Not at all. What really stands out here when you look at them together is that they signal the emergence of this second parallel system of education in Nepal.
A parallel system.
Yeah, it's distinctly market-focused, designed specifically to meet immediate, precise hiring needs. It's incredibly flexible, often much shorter, like Fuse Machines' 23 weeks, and it can be updated super quickly as tech changes.
Adapting much faster than universities can.
Exactly. And critically, it's results-focused. Success is measured by whether graduates get hired and are productive, not just by earning a degree certificate.
Right, the outcome matters most.
And it's holistic, combining those technical skills with the crucial soft skills needed for the global workplace. The core insight, I think, is that these companies are effectively becoming agile, results-driven educational institutions themselves. They're prioritizing immediate applicability over traditional academic timelines.
And you have to wonder, could a Fuse Machines AI micro degree, or maybe a Leapfrog internship certificate, actually become more valuable to employers for certain jobs than a general university degree?
It's a real possibility. It directly challenges that traditional monopoly universities have held on higher education and credentialing.
Okay, so these private sector initiatives are impressive, definitely essential. But you could argue they're reactive measures, right? Patching the holes caused by a systemic problem.
That's a fair point. They are responses to an existing gap.
So what does this all mean for a long-term, truly sustainable solution, something that scales nationwide? We need to move beyond just these individual company efforts, surely, towards a more proactive strategic framework.
Exactly. That's the next logical step. The ultimate goal is to shift from these isolated partnerships, however good they are, to a more coherent triple helix model.
Triple helix. Okay, what's that involve?
It involves academia, industry, and government working together. This is based on recommendations from the World Bank, local experts too. It's about each playing a distinct yet interconnected role, fostering a self-sustaining ecosystem rather than just fixing problems piecemeal.
Okay, academia, industry, government. Let's break down those roles. What does each need to do? Let's start with universities.
Right. Universities need to transform, become more dynamic, flexible learning centers.
Yeah.
That means moving away from these really slow, static curriculum review cycles.
Yeah. Takes forever sometimes.
Right. Move towards a more modular approach. Vastly expand elective choices. Create pathways maybe to these micro degrees or specialized certifications that can be updated annually, responding quickly to market shifts.
More agile. What about internships?
Internships shouldn't just be a formality tacked on at the end. They need to be structured, properly mentored, integrated much earlier in the curriculum, maybe like KU is already doing.
Okay. And soft skills.
Soft skills need to be core. Credit-bearing components of the curriculum, not just some peripheral subject you might take as an elective. They are truly foundational for any modern professional.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's academia. What about industry? They're already doing a lot with these academies.
They are, but they need to shift from being mainly consumers of talent to being active co-creators of it, systematic.
Co-creators. How?
Move beyond just occasional guest lectures, actively co-design, and maybe even co-teach courses and electives. That Fuse Machines KU partnership on the AI curriculum, that's a perfect model that needs to be scaled up nationally.
Right. Deeper partnerships.
That new partnerships. Also, invest in scaling and standardizing structured mentoring programs for interns and new hires. Ensure mentors are trained, there are clear goals.
Quality control for mentoring.
Exactly. And, importantly, support things like university computer clubs, hackathons, maybe national mentoring networks. Help expand that talent pool beyond just the Kathmandu Valley, reach into more remote areas too.
Spread the opportunity. Okay. Universities, industry. That leaves government. What's their role in this triple helix?
The government's main function is really to create that favorable, enabling environment.
Infrastructure and policy.
Pretty much. Modernize key laws. The Telecom Act is apparently outdated. The Digital Nepal framework needs pushing forward. Critically, remove regulatory barriers, especially things like cross-border payments. That's absolutely essential for the freelancing economy to thrive.
Yeah, freelancers need to get paid easily.
For sure. They also need to give universities the autonomy to adapt their programs quickly.
Yeah.
Reform policies that impose strict quotas on IT program admissions, those quotas artificially restrict the talent supply.
Let more students in if they're qualified.
Right. And most fundamentally, the government's primary role is reliable, high-speed internet infrastructure. That remains a major challenge in many parts of Nepal. And focusing on basic digital literacy way back at the K-12 level ensure students have those foundational digital competencies before they even get to university.
Build the base. Okay, so if you connect all this together, the triple helix.
Yeah, the World Bank data, expert opinions, they all point to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
No single actor can solve this alone. A purely academic approach. Too slow, purely corporate. Agile, but doesn't scale nationally, raises questions about equity. Purely governmental. Often lacks that specific granular tech expertise needed. The triple helix model really seems optimal.
So everyone plays their part.
Exactly. Universities provide the broad theory, the learning to learn. Industry provides specific, timely skills, real-world context, mentoring. Government provides stable infrastructure, supportive policies. This integrated model transforms the skills gap from just a static problem to be solved into a dynamic system to be continuously managed.
Continuously managed. That makes sense. Ensuring a constant match between talent and market needs, propelling Nepal forward.
Okay.
Okay, let's wrap this up. For so long, the narrative about Nepal, it's been marred by this significant brain drain, Hundreds of thousands leaving each year for work, often low-skilled labor.
Yeah, a huge outflow of talent or potential talent.
Yeah. But the rise of this high-revenue, remote work-focused IT sector, coupled with this aggressive corporate training happening at home, it really feels like a historic opportunity, a chance to not just stop the brain drain, but maybe even reverse it, create a vibrant domestic tech industry.
I agree. The skills gap, it definitely remains a major challenge, let's be clear. But that private sector response we discussed, it offers a really powerful, actionable plan for the future. The most effective solutions seem to be emerging from within the industry itself. Leapfrog, Fuse Machines, Cloud Factory, Deerwalk, creating this dynamic, parallel education system that directly addresses their needs.
So the way forward isn't really a choice, is it? Between the university system and these corporate systems, it's got to be an integration of the two.
Absolutely. That triple helix model, academia, industry, government, each playing their strategic coordinated roles, that seems like the most sustainable, the most scalable path to creating a truly robust and viable talent ecosystem for Nepal.
And the payoff?
Well, ultimately, bridging this skills gap means creating high-paying jobs within Nepal. It means a profound transition for the economy, moving away from being so heavily dependent on remittances from low-skilled workers abroad,
Yeah.
towards an economy driven by the export of high-value digital services. The end result is transforming Nepal's youth population, that demographic dividend everyone talks about.
Turning a challenge into an asset.
Exactly, transforming them from a potential source of export labor into a highly skilled, globally competitive digital workforce, one that drives innovation and economic prosperity from within Nepal itself. By strategically cultivating this resource, Nepal isn't just solving a problem. It feels like they're actively building a new, digitally empowered future.